The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly podcast coming to you here on a Tuesday evening, minutes after the first debate of 2020 election season. Of course, it's here, my man, Marc Francois. Mark, what was that shit we watched tonight?
Boy.
Text doing the whole thing too, you and I.
Is what it was. Just right off the bat, I don't like Trump. I'm progressive. Not really much of a fan of Biden. This is a disenfranchised, hold your nose kind of election, to which all of my friends of color say, welcome to the club. So nice of you to join us. And that, when we talk about just rhetoric, the simple rules of debate, how presidential debates are conducted, and even when you think about like really heated and awkward debates, that was just downright embarrassing. It was like, I remember in 5th grade, we were studying the Civil War and talking about like President Lincoln and his debates. And so we put together like whole mock debates and stuff about the Civil War and whatnot, and it was all structured and everything. Watching Chris Wallace try to moderate that literally felt like Mrs. J trying to wrangle 10 to 12-year-olds into having a serious debate. And I think we ultimately pulled it off better than the president did. And that's really, really, really disheartening, regardless of where you stand on any issue. The simple fact is that he behaved like a petulant child from beginning to end. He shit on the rules. He shit on any modicum of decorum that has ever existed in televised presidential debates going back to Nixon and Kennedy. And it was just really fucking discouraging.
The first 10 minutes of the debate, I'm thinking to myself, man, I long for the Romney-Obama debate from 2012.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? That was, good debates there. Debates in the past. Bush and Clinton.
I mean, you think about how cringy at times the 2008 primary debates were between like Obama and Clinton. Like people, like if you go queue up the video from 12 years ago, I venture to guess the rapid reactions are pretty dire. Like, my God, it was flamethrowers and missile launchers, And then you think about it through the scope of what we just watched, and you go, "Fuck me."
So let me real quick, and I'm going to ask you this too, also about where you stand now, because in theory, if people were actually just common sense laden about this stuff, forget the fringes, forget about MAGA and anti-Trump, If people
we're not talking about the people that watch shit every day. Like
if we're talking this common sense, look at two guys. I need to pick somebody president. Donald Trump, based on his performance tonight, lost his re-election chances tonight, based on common sense.
You literally. So as we were, prepping for this, watching a little bit of the rapid reaction, my mom was texting me, and my mom has always been, at least since she met my dad, a Republican. And only in recent years has she started to really pay attention, with my going to protests and getting involved in shit, has she really started to listen and pay more attention to, the left. And she was texting me tonight, of course, sickened by everything she saw. And my stepdad, who is a Vietnam vet who's never voted in his life, I believe my mom convinced him to register this recently, or has got him pretty close, is a retired King County sheriff. He's like 73, 74. And he was texting my mom tonight going, this is like unwatchable. I'm out.
And
he was in on Trump until tonight.
And
that's the dude I'm talking. And he's not. When I say he's a retired police officer, veteran, he is not Blue Lives Matter with a gun safe. And like, obviously he supports law enforcement causes, and he's not a big fan of some of my hobbies.
Right. Right.
But by no stretch of the imagination is he sort of that extreme that we talk about either. He is literally like you would never even know he was a police officer unless somebody else told you because he doesn't talk about it.
Right. So like in theory, you would think, okay, well, Trump has lost the election here. I mean, the not
anything can happen in
thing.
35 days if Jim Comey taught us
that's
anything.
the thing. What we saw in 2016, what we've seen in the last 4 years, the way the entire electorate, the way the entire environment of America has changed over the course of the last 10 years, nothing's impossible. What Trump has
I have hope that the tax revelations prove to be that September surprise, but God only knows.
Honestly,
man.
the tax thing might be.
God only knows.
But the thing is, though, the tax thing, honestly, is not a needle mover. It's not. To me, it's not. He's not going to lose support over that. Are people going to go to the polls because of the tax thing? No.
I gotta believe. Okay, so those mysterious Obama Trump voters that we talk about that are the union members,
the soft Trump voters,
the soft Trump voters. I gotta believe that those hardworking folks who more or less have been Democrats most of their lives by virtue of being union folks and what have you, have got to feel like this guy really doesn't give a shit about anyone but himself.
Yeah.
Like my crazy cousin with a mohawk maybe wasn't quite so crazy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Man.
And then I think right off the bat, look, I think the debate was certainly not without flaws. However, and again, Joe Biden has never been a stellar debater by any stretch of the imagination. But I think he did a fair to good, even maybe better than good job threading that needle. Yeah, he did a really good job because there's a really delicate balance you have to walk with Trump in the sense that you cannot stoop to his level, but you also can't let him run roughshod over you.
And Biden did that. Biden had some zingers in there, called him a clown, told him to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he definitely. My biggest fear was that he was gonna, because Joe does have a well documented temper with these sorts of things as well. It's no secret that in the 2016 election he said he'd knock the president out. So he obviously has a propensity to slide down that slippery slope of landing yourself in Trump's sewer. Mm-hmm. But I think he did a really good job navigating that water tonight and allowing, to the extent that he did do it, Chris Wallace to sort of let Trump make an idiot out of himself and just make him look like a petulant child the whole time.
Yeah, I'm a big Chris Wallace fan. Huge fan of Chris Wallace. I thought he didn't do.
He's the last real journalist at Fox News.
Yeah, but honestly,
at least of the principles.
And I understand you don't want to talk up to the president. If he's the president of the United States, you want to respect the office and all that. But you gotta tighten that shit up, dude. You gotta tighten up.
He definitely. Well, and he said, some of the things he said to me, when he was framing questions around race, Black Lives Matter protests, I think he was using a lot of ignorant and problematic language. I think he was like breezing over and generalizing some things. So there's some critiques to be had there. But in general, yeah, there were more than a few times where he let Trump just completely act like a little baby and throw tantrums on stage. And, the thing that was so frustrating to me is that even as I'm trying to have like text exchanges with friends who are Trump supporters, and I'm just fighting to get them over to hold their nose and vote for Biden for the basic civics of it all.
Right.
I literally cannot keep up with the stream of lies because whether they are mostly inaccurate, wholly inaccurate, or bald-faced lies, they come with just such rapid succession that the fact-checking articles on this would be half the paper 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I with just doing a back of the napkin count in my head, 90%, not hyperbole, 90% of what he said was demonstrably false and easily disproven.
Oh yeah. I thought he struggled also. I thought he struggled also to, he was one of the things he was trying to do, and you and I spoke this after Biden won the nomination, and then weeks after that, chose Kamala. That, one thing Trump lost that he could use, that he couldn't use in this election with Biden, that he would have used with Bernie Sanders, putting this whole socialism thing around Joe Biden, calling him a socialist.
Yeah, he tried it with the Green New Deal. He tried it with
defund the police,
with his positions on healthcare and defund the police.
And Biden said no. Biden said, I'm not for defund the police. I'm not for the Green New Deal. He said no. So you can't. So MAGA can't use that anymore.
Trump tried to suck him down a rabbit hole defending the Green New Deal, and he was really just making points about the factual inaccuracies that Trump was stating relative to the Green New Deal.
Right.
And then he quickly followed up and said, "I'm not for the Green New Deal. I'm for the Biden plan, which is published on my website, which I released in whatever month he released it in."
Right. So.
And I think it was really detrimental. The first 30 to 45 minutes are probably the most important of the night, and where most people tuned out afterward. And the fact that they started on the ACA and COVID was really damaging for the president.
It was too, because let me tell you why, and I'll let you speak up in a second on this. When he got elected in 2016, in 2017, I posted on Inauguration Day, I said on my Facebook page that the number one thing that if Trump wants to win me over, because I remember, I'm a middle guy. I'm in the middle. So I'm still up. I'm voting Biden, yes, but that doesn't mean I won't Republican in 2024, depending who the candidate is. I said healthcare, number one priority for my family. Number one priority for my family. Number one priority for my family. I agree with Trump. The mandate sucks. I agree with Trump that the mandate was bad for Obamacare. That I agree with. But that's where it ends for me personally. He said you have a new healthcare plan.
Well, and he said repeatedly too that he eliminated the individual mandate. No, they didn't. The individual mandate still exists. It's just that the Trump tax plan zeroes out the penalty for it. So they cut it off at the knees, but they didn't eliminate it.
Right. And the one time, when Paul Ryan was still in the Senate, when they brought the plan, the healthcare plan, that got destroyed.
He was House Speaker.
House Speaker. My bad about that. And they brought the healthcare plan they had back in 2017, which got destroyed. And then Trump said, "Well, that's it. I'm done with it. No more." On the tax cuts now. He has not brought out healthcare since then. He has not touched healthcare since that 2017 time when Paul Ryan was House Speaker at the time. So what healthcare plan is he talking about? He keeps saying it's a healthcare plan. There's a healthcare plan.
Yeah, and he's supported states that are actively suing in appellate courts right now to end the Affordable Care Act and to get out of their required mandates under the law. Right. So while we're in the midst of a global healthcare crisis that has been mishandled from the outset, he and his administration are actively working to undermine what little healthcare protections we do have and has offered no alternative. In fact, he has done nothing really but suggest that they'll continue to deregulate insurance to take us back to where we were circa 2003. He said some nonsense about, pharmaceutical costs that are in no way representative of anything that takes place in the real world. He said some nonsense about, how he was raising or lowering the prices of pharmaceuticals by 80 or 90%. He's literally done nothing to do that, and there's no data to suggest that short of completely federalizing or rewriting the regulation structure of pharmaceutical pricing in this country that you could reduce it by those kind of numbers. So, when he says things like that, it's like it frustrates me so much because, like I said, these lies, they just spew with such speed and ease and just one after another that a person who isn't constantly reading this stuff like us and making great efforts to, separate propaganda from quality news and reliable sources and all these things, it's really fucking confusing to the average voter and casual consumer of news. And it's really unfortunate that more can't be done to make it more digestible.
Obviously, tonight, we talk about, obviously, the chaos of Trump. And I thought Biden held his own for the record. I thought he did decent considering situation. What did I tell you earlier today in text message? That the goal for Biden was, because my thing was that Trump for months has set the bar so low for Biden by calling him Sleepy Joe, and all these insults that you lower the bar.
Say, he can't think and he can't talk. So
all Biden had to do was finish coherent sentences. That's all he had to do, and he did that tonight. He obviously had his stomach issue. It is what it is, but he got most of his points across. He denounced the violence. He said he's not for defunding police. He's not Green New Deal, not socialism, all that stuff. So at least the moderates who are still wavy on whether or not Biden will be, far left or not. I think tonight, at least you got your answers straight up from him. I think that's success in itself.
Yeah, I mean, what was the Politico poll that came out? I think it was Politico that did this poll. That was something like 86% of Americans have already made up their mind going into this debate. So,
I've been saying for weeks now. The undecided is smaller than 2016 at this point. Like people for Trump are not changing.
At this point, it's really just a turnout race. That's all it is.
It's can Biden get turnout
better, or in the case of the Republicans, how successful can they be in suppressing the vote?
Yeah, well, I mean, sad to say, but but tonight we'll probably remember it mostly for Donald Trump not fully condemning white supremacy. That's the tagline now. You see,
that was kind. That was very kind of you.
We're 30 minutes past the debate now as we record this podcast, and I'm seeing all the tweets. I'm seeing all the updates from the different different news places and stuff, and talking about this. Donald Trump was given an alley-oop question by Chris Wallace. Donald Trump was given dinner with flowers on a plate to denounce white supremacy, denounce racism, and he didn't do that.
No,
he didn't do that. So,
he didn't.
So now,
that's the thing I struggle with my friends is I go, look, you guys, you can tell me that you're not personally racist if you support the president, and I believe you because I know you, I love you, I care about you, but what you are saying, whether you agree with it or not, your actions are saying it for you, is that racism isn't a deal breaker for you. And it is for me.
Yeah, and guess what? I won't accuse somebody being a racist because they vote for me, even though he said what he says, because I'm sure there are many people who vote for Trump because of their pocketbooks. And I get that. It's fine. I'm not judging you. But you can't tell me that that's not a dog whistle at this point. He was given alley-oop from LeBron James, best passer in the league. Anthony Davis is Donald Trump, and he fumbled the fucking ball. That's it. Bottom line. I so badly wanted Trump to denounce it, and he didn't do it. And you can't. No, Mark, you can't spin it any way other. There's a way to spin that. Chris Wallace gave him a layup.
I mean, I don't personally believe it as I'm saying this. I'm just going call it a quasi devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. I'll let you try to tell me that the president himself may not personally be a racist, despite decades of evidence to the contrary. However, at the very least, what cannot be even challenged is that he is a narcissist.
Well, question.
He takes attention from wherever it comes, including from the likes of Nazis, white nationalists, Proud Boys, Klansmen, really, really, really dangerous and scary people. It doesn't bother him as long as they say nice things about him. That's literally the only measure of what is acceptable to him or what isn't. What makes him money and what people say about him. That's it.
I said this back 4 years ago before he became president. I don't think Donald Trump is a white supremacist necessarily. I think he's a supremacist in general.
Yeah, I think he's just a casual. I think casual racism is sort of a natural byproduct of his overall classist outlook on life and superior. Like when I say superior, I don't mean like in white supremacy, like his air of superiority. He just thinks he's better than you, regardless of what color you are. He doesn't care what color you are. I'm still better than you. It manifests and welcomes racism because it's superiority across the board. But, is he a card-carrying Nazi? Probably not.
No. Whatever is the win. If most people wanted, universal healthcare
Exactly.
or one socialism, he'd be on that side too.
When people, he goes even like he can't even denounce fucking QAnon. Like, they said really nice things about it. Like, get the fuck out of here.
And people eat this shit up too, like it's nothing. And again, I don't blame Trump. This is who he is. He's always been. It's the people who continue making excuses and moving the goalposts and stop.
He's the symptom, not the sickness.
Right. Like this is on us. This is on us as people. This is who we voted in. Well, I didn't vote for Trump, but you know what I mean.
I didn't either.
But still, the process. We are in charge of this process.
Well, it's worth noting that our system of representation in the Electoral College is unbalanced, and a majority of Americans are controlled in many ways by politicians who preside over a pretty significant minority of the country, who represent an overly singular political viewpoint. And frankly, the Republican leadership, the extreme views they espouse, and the more extreme states that support them, states like Arkansas and Kentucky with, Tom Cotton and Mitch McConnell and stuff, are not reflective of the country as a whole. No, there's no better example of that than, the Federalist Society list of judges that produced Amy Coney Barrett. And it's something like 77% of Americans support access to health care, and something like 68% support access to 48 or 52% of Republicans support access to abortion. So it's like the things they're fighting for are not even reflective of their constituency.
I guess people are relying on ignorance. Always want to be blind on purpose. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's all about self-interest, donors, lobbyists, and power. What keeps me in power? What gets me more power? What gets me more money? What lets me do it longer? That's what drives them.
Right. I mean, it's safe to say that Biden won the debate today. I guess. In my opinion.
No, nobody won the debate. This debate. Everybody.
We all lost.
What have you?
American people lost this debate. We lost. We all lost.
Yeah.
A travesty.
The world is worse off for that debate. But no. Yeah, I guess you could call it a Biden win, but yeah, everybody won that. That was gross.
What are you gonna do? I mean, and apparently they're gonna have two more.
It's what we're left with. Oh.
Apparently there's two more plus the VP debate.
Without the dangerous trap to fall into is setting the bar too high, but I imagine that the VP debate will at least follow some basic rules of conduct. And in doing so, it's my belief that Senator Harris is going to absolutely mop up Mike Pence.
Yeah, that's the one thing I will say though, Mark, and I agree with you said there.
It's like the whole Candace Owens Cardi B thing. It's just like it doesn't even matter what side they're on. It's just that like her knowledge base and ability is so much better.
I will say though, that, and I agree with what you said there about Kamala and likely doing that to Pence. I will say this much though, that there is a danger though of martyring Pence to some degree.
No, totally. You got to be careful
optics.
Because the way we've talked about this before in Trump's attacks failing to stick to Biden because he's not a woman, he's not a person of color, all these different things. Kamala being both is going to become, the minute she steps onto that stage, she's going to become the immediate recipient of all that bile. And all that vitriol, and all that
angry black woman, that kind of thing,
racist, misogynistic bullshit. They're going to call her hysterical. They're going to say she's a mad black woman. They're going to, all that shit. It's just in various forms. It's going to come. It's going to come spewing out of the Ann Coulters and Laura Ingrams of the world.
Right. It's not fair, but it's the reality of the situation.
Yeah. So she definitely, and it disgusts me to say this because I would love nothing more than Senator Unsi to just go out there, take off her earrings, and fucking murk him. But like there's this line that she has to walk where even if she sees, like, you know, she's in that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant moment where they can just step on your neck and walk away with the win. She has to be careful because how will people think of her? As you know, was she a bully? Was she crazy? But was she up there being hysterical?
I think now
when she gets really passionate about something, she gets this almost quiver to her voice sometimes. And I think it's just sort of a natural characteristic of the way she speaks, but it's something I've picked up upon. And it's, to me, the sort of, like, completely innocuous and meaningless thing that some conservative dickbag who managed to get a blue check mark will key in on and make fun of and say she was about to, you know, she was hysterical and on the verge of tears talking about, you know, some issue.
Yeah. I will say, though, if there was any fear about Biden and him going against Trump and being able to hold his own, I think tonight, you know, despite everything that happened, because he took Trump's best punches, obviously, you know, Trump interrupting the entire damn thing, you know, and Biden held his own. I think those fears are gone now.
Yeah, I don't think really. I mean, unless you're somebody who's so cynical, you're only getting your updates from social media and you didn't actually watch it.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched that debate, even the people who are, you know, smart people who buy into the nonsense that Biden can't think and Biden can't talk and all this stuff, I got to think that even if they watched this, they went, ooh, okay.
He can hold on. He's fine. He can hold on. He's good. Yeah, so I think I think next debate's next week, Thursday, I think. You're going to watch it again, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Well, well, it depends. So, truth be told, had we not been doing this pod, I don't know that I would have been able to stomach every minute of it because it was difficult at best.
Well, I gotta be honest with you, Mark. Though, like, I'm that guy because I'm that guy that honestly, like, look, I know Trump is what he is, and you know whatever. If you know, take away the fact he's commander in chief, he's entertaining as fuck. Though he is really entertaining.
No.
I know you're over it now. It's just hysterical sometimes.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately,
good television. It is good television.
Yeah.
It's really annoying that it is, but it is.
Well, anyway, let's transition to something that's actually a little more important. The NBA Finals.
Yeah, like the ultimate like medicine and sugar podcast because it's like the best of times and the worst of times because we get to go from the biggest fucking dumpster fire to the best thing that's happened to either one of us as from a sports perspective in the last 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
7 in your case.
Well, right, 7 in my case. But it's funny because, like, you know, one of the most underrated, like, narratives about this entire series is that both these teams missed the playoffs last year. Both these teams, not just one, both.
No, the Lakers aggregators and meme creators that I follow that are like deep LA apologists and like from Manila and shit like that.
Yeah.
They've been on that for a while. They've been like putting up all these memes showing like for, you know, it'll be shit like showing the lineups from the years that Kobe blew his Achilles when we were starting like Jordan Hill and Wayne Ellington and stuff like that. You know, just some of these lineups that were just really, really bad. And it's like, for all y'all that were still cheering when this was the starting 5, like, you the real MVPs. Like,
no, right. I'm with you, but Mark, literally last season, we're not in the playoffs. Neither teams were. And now,
no, I know, but
it's crazy.
But hey, let's be honest. Before LeBron got hurt on Christmas Day last year and missed most of the rest of the season, or all of the rest of the season, the Lakers were already like the 3rd or 4th best team in the West.
Right.
Like from the start to Christmas Day, they were kicking ass, and they weren't gonna make it to the finals.
Right.
But they were gonna make the playoffs if LeBron's healthy. I think.
Of course. Yeah. I think they
would have been an early and disappointing exit, and I'm almost happier that we get to go from dumpster fire to finals.
Right.
Like that.
Albeit, I mean, COVID, you know, obviously not the most comfortable situations to do this, but, you know, COVID, you know, and the bubble and all that.
In a lot of ways, I was going to say the bubble is probably one of the main reasons that the Heat were able to get through the
Absolutely.
East. You and I were talking about this, privately. I think the just sort of the main thing is the main thing being the culture in Miami, and not just like their way of doing business there. Probably lends itself to bubble play more than any other franchise, completely irrespective of.
Not only that, but even during COVID,
that's the vibe. That's the life.
Even during COVID, though, there was a lot of continuity with the franchise, with the players. They were still, if they weren't practicing, they were still staying in touch. They were still doing little things here and there to make sure that the continuity was going on. That's why I kept saying to you and everybody else that I think the two teams in the East to watch were Boston and Miami. Because both teams were kind of doing the same thing, the continuity, and I think with the no crowds also too, there's no advantage in.
Well, I think the bubble environment definitely opened the door for your rookies.
Oh,
particularly when you talk about Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. And I mean, let's be real. That the travel is the thing that every single NBA player, like when you watch these podcasts, I don't care if it's like Mario Chalmers or it's All the Smoke, or whenever they talk about these things, when they talk about the jump from high school to pro or college to pro, the thing that gets every guy, even superstars, is the pace and the travel. And so, as impressed as I am by these Miami teams, and as frankly as this Miami squad and their rookies, as frankly fearful as I am and respectful of their abilities, I gotta believe that if they'd had to go to the Boston Garden 3-4 times, and if they were coming to Staples Center 3-4 times, and having the flights, the hotels, the food, the sleep, the getting treatment on a plane, like just all this shit that absolutely ravages an NBA franchise over the course of a 7-game series, particularly a bi-coastal series like Miami, LA. I don't think Duncan and Tyler would be, keeping pace. Like that's where you would see things like Rajon Rondo and Dwight Howard really making like cases for bench players getting the Finals MVP, because it's those guys that are going to make the difference.
Because they've been there before, they've done it. Yeah.
They old man strong, like they've been to war numerous times. Yeah. But, I still think ultimately, the Mamba Memorial Championship feels like an unstoppable force. I get a lot of 2009 vibes from this team. And in the same way that like Orlando was an extremely respectable, unlikely, and underrated opponent, they got past LeBron and the Celtics, I believe, didn't they? Didn't they knock out both LeBron and the Big Three?
That's correct. Well, although the Big Three wasn't really the Big Three, Garnett missed the entire series.
Yeah, they were. That was the year after they won it.
And but Garnett was hurt that series. But Garnett didn't play that series. He was hurt that year.
Oh.
And
okay.
one can argue.
Nevertheless.
One can argue that Boston was better than the one before that one. One can argue that Boston team that year was better than the one before Garnett got hurt.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The 2009 team was sicker than the 2008 team until Garnett got hurt, without question. But no, regardless, I think Orlando and Miami have kind of a lot of similar stuff. They've got a lot of promise, but I think that just, it's really interesting because LeBron and Jimmy Butler's head-to-head record, I think, is like 13-13.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah,
between playoffs and regular season.
And the stats,
and Frank Vogel's head-to-head is 26-24 Spoelstra.
Mm-hmm. There's also a stat I saw too. There's also a stat I saw recently that said that LeBron's toughest defenders of his career, the two most toughest defenders of his career, were Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala, both on Miami.
Yeah.
Weird.
The first and second option to guard LeBron for most of this series.
No, although, right. Yeah, it's crazy.
I think Iggy is going to struggle to keep up with LeBron at this phase of his career if he has to play meaningful minutes against him.
Right.
I think Jimmy Butler is fully up to the task, and I think that the reputation he's gotten as that he's a third tier superstar, or even, you could even make it like he's really, I think he's a first tier superstar personally in the league. It just goes to show that he was being completely mismanaged. And I think more than anything, it's a bigger indictment of Chicago and Philadelphia that he didn't have success there.
And Minnesota.
Minnesota, I give a little more slack to, only because they're just going through so much transition. They're still trying to figure it out. I feel like Jimmy just kind of got lost in that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then Cat was obviously the one in Minneapolis, but in both, Philly and Chicago, a lot more could have been done to center around Jimmy. And it was, I think just a lot more, I think they're just a lot more irresponsible with their talent in both Chicago and Philly than Minnesota is. I think Minnesota is like, they're making their best efforts, but they just make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
But they're trying really hard.
Chicago
is just a dumpster fire, and Philly is like a shit show that has more talent than they deserve.
Right. No, this series is going to be interesting, though. I did a little podcast on Sunday, quick little 12-minute podcast, like 2:30 in the morning, because I was so stoked after Game 6. And, I was getting 06 vibes in terms of, like, the emotions, because, we're a year ahead of schedule. Maybe even 2 years, to be honest with you.
No.
This is crazy.
I think giving the youngsters this kind of opportunity to develop and play in this environment, sort of on the biggest stage, but with training wheels in a way too, especially for basketball, because an environment like the bubble and younger players is literally anybody who's playing under the age of 40. This is more or less how they grew up playing.
Right.
Playing 8 days a week, living in gyms and hotels, like doing nothing but basketball all the time. It's like, if you're LeBron's age or younger, that's the only life you ever knew until you got to the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that for them is been incredibly beneficial, and you're going to see big leaps forward next year. Not only that, Pat Riley's job for the next off season just got a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, because it's not easy to sell to any star when come down here. Well, look at what we have here. Look what we have. Look what we just did this year.
You just got your 305 swag back.
Yeah.
And and I think really now, when you talk about the 4 premier teams in the NBA over the next couple of years, LA, Miami, Golden State, and Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And when those 4 teams are anchoring your championship conversation, that's going to be really good for Adam Silver and the revenue recovery of the league.
You know what I feel bad for more than anything else for this whole series, though? The media members, because this is a series. This series would have been heaven if COVID didn't exist, because you're having two teams playing on 2 different coasts in Miami and Los Angeles.
Honestly,
Cleveland.
I think if they're playing in full stadiums, just given all the storylines around this season, COVID, just everything with Kobe and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys get swept if you have to play in stadiums.
No. What I'm saying is more so just the fact that you can cover your teams, in L.A., sunny L.A., and sunny Miami, not in cold ass Cleveland or fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
that's
what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the actual series itself. So, like, okay, so the series itself for me personally, I went on the record Sunday saying I have Lakers in 6. You can talk me. I think the problem with this series, this is where the Lakers should win this in 5 or less, in my opinion. But
I would say Lakers in 6, but it should be 5 if they do everything right. And then we'll talk. I won't let you finish, and then I'm going to make some points of the things they have to do right in order for them to be able to win in 5.
If I'm a Laker fan, this is what scares me more than anything else. Is that the Lakers right now are pretty much a 2-man team right now. It's LeBron, it's AD. Your third best player in the last 2 series has been KCP.
Okay, so here's what I'll say with that is all season long we've been talking about who's the third gun on the Lakers.
Should be Kuzma.
It has rotated. It has it really has the third firing position is really now being more platooned by Kuzma, Caruso, KCP, Avery Bradley, and in situational basketball, you could maybe say Rondo.
Mm-hmm.
But So, and then the other reason they end up getting a pass there, particularly in the bubble and in the last two playoff series, is that the fourth guy has ended up becoming an outsized role, and that has been Dwight Howard and Rajon Rondo. Like, whether or not you count Rondo in the 3 spot or the 4 spot, he's in one of those two. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about a platoon of Caruso, KCP, and Kuz in the bubble, and then in that 4 spot, Dwight and Rajon, you're getting outsized performance from your 4 spot that overshadows some of the weaknesses of your 3rd spot. And while my heart wants Kuz or somebody to just step into that role and grab it by the throat and make it theirs, somehow their little platoon of being streaky has worked, although it makes me nervous. And KCP has, at least in the Houston and Denver series, assumed the numbers that Avery Bradley was putting up both from behind the arc. He's now shooting 40%, I believe, through those 2 series.
Right.
And his perimeter defense has massively improved individually. However, if the Lakers give Miami Jay Crowder, Jimmy Butler, Duncan, and Tyler the open looks that they let Denver have, they could lose this series. They'll be lucky if they win in 6, but they could lose the series because it will cut out the effectiveness that I think their post players can have. I think if JaVale has a better series against Miami than he did against Denver, mm-hmm. and Dwight can continue to do what he's doing, and to me, all indicators are such that he's only getting more and more locked in, and that's a really scary thing for people who've been underestimating him. I think it could be a very bruising and difficult series for Miami. And as long as the Lakers play decent perimeter defense, win the rebounding game, and then AD and LeBron continue to combine for 60 points, there's really not a whole lot Miami's going to be able to do.
No, and I agree 100%.
If those three things happen, as long as they play even Joe Biden level perimeter defense, if they win the rebounding, LeBron and AD continue to have 60 points every night, it's going to be a very nice year for Miami fans. But ultimately, the Mamba Memorial Championship is coming to LA the way it's supposed to.
Right. Now, here's the thing, and I agree 100% on that one. The shootings is going to be a big deal for Miami because I'm going to use the same logic that I had when LeBron was in Miami itself. When LeBron was here for 4 years. And when LeBron faced San Antonio, especially those last 2 years, where we almost lost the first time and then we lost the second time. The way to beat LeBron James, really, the way to counter LeBron James teams is with perimeter shooting. San Antonio exposed that with us when he was in Miami. And that's the thing, Miami does have the opportunity to do that. If they're hitting shots, that offsets LeBron and AD's effectiveness. You know what I mean?
The thing that Miami, the counter to that Miami's going to have to be really, really mindful of, and if they can overwhelm LeBron, they can address this meaningfully.
Right.
The difference of the Lakers and the difference of any team they've seen so far is, look, all season long, LeBron won't do this in the regular season, but when it comes to the playoffs and it comes to the finals, if anybody starts getting too hot, he's going to be like, all right, he's mine. Tyler Hero's not necessarily going to have 2 or 3 30-point games because the minute he starts knocking a few down, LeBron's going to go, I got the youngster. And he's going to make his life really, really fucking difficult for the next 4 to 6 minutes, and he's going to break your rhythm up.
Well,
and so they're going to, but if he has to do that to 2 or 3 guys a game, then they're fucked.
Right. So the Heat will probably do zone again. They've been doing zone the entire playoff run. And zone is the one thing that LeBron does struggle with, but he can break down that same series against San Antonio back in 2013. The Spurs probably put zone on his ass.
I think you run into problems with Lakers interior passing against your zone, though, just given the size the Lakers have.
Well, that's the thing.
And the ability they have to pass in the post between guys like AD and Rondo and the way Caruso
right, and that is exactly the reason why the shooting's important.
Passes.
That's exactly why the shooting's important, because that's why it's a make or miss series for the Heat. If they're hitting shots, they're in the series. If they're not hitting shots, it's over. That's simple. Because the rebounding.
If they're shooting, if they're shooting 20, if the Lakers can hold them to 29% from behind the arc, they're going to have a really hard time.
Right.
They're going to look a lot better in the first 2 or 3 games, but by game 4 or game 5, they're going to start looking like Houston, where they're just shot fighters because they're just too beat up.
And that's what happened with San Antonio in that same series, where San Antonio they played zone. San Antonio played zone against Miami, and then by game 5, game 6, Miami figured it out and won the series.
Yeah, but no, I mean, like, look at Jokic. I mean, he is, arguably the best center in the NBA currently, and Dwight was just too strong and too mean for him. Like, he just didn't know what to do with that, because the Lakers were able to play a more traditional, grind it down, kind of like a 90s ball almost on him, and take away a lot of his European proclivities and finesse by just kicking the shit out of him for 3-4 nights. And I think that Bam is a goddamn monster. Yeah. But I think, just having to, contend with Dwight, JaVale, and AD, that's a tall order.
It's a tall order, and that's why I'm worried about it. That's why I have to make a mid-series for the Heat. Like I said, I have the Lakers in 6 in the series right now. This is not going to be about individual matchups, because I think Bam will make AD work some degree, but this is not going to be a one-on-one matchup. This is going to be zone against whatever the Lakers put out on defense on that. It's going to be basically a series of, can you do this well? Can you shoot the ball well?
Yeah, if you want to talk about picking your poison, and like who between AD and LeBron, like you're going to have to pick one to say he can't beat us tonight.
AD's got to be
LeBron or AD.
It's funny because AD's got more than anybody else.
It has to be AD, because if LeBron's scoring a lot of points, the Lakers are not necessarily doing the best.
Right.
Like, LeBron could have 45 and they lose by 20. That is a thing that happens on LeBron
AD's checkmate.
teams.
AD's a checkmate guy.
Yeah. I want, when we talk about getting to their 60 points, I want it really to be like AD has 34, 35, and LeBron has, 25, 26,
right.
Stuff like that. But LeBron's got a triple-double with 2 blocks, and AD's got 4 blocks and 12 rebounds.
Yeah. It should be a fun series, though. It should be a fun series. I mean, it's a fun bubble.
And it's got vibes that definitely give me some 2004 Pistons Lakers fears. Like, that was the illusion that Reggie Miller was making on the Dan Patrick Show, and he said the Lakers should win, but I'm picking Miami in 7. So I think he's just kind of playing both sides, because he's a national broadcaster now.
Yeah, of course.
But like, there is some truth to what he's saying, in the sense that, like, there's definitely some Detroit vibes with Miami. Now, the difference, I would say, between the 2004 Lakers and this Laker team is that obviously they're a lot more together. That Lakers squad was a dumpster fire. It's a miracle when you realize how when you realize how unhealthy that locker room is. It's like, how did they even make the playoffs, let alone get,
I have that book.
Let alone make it to the finals.
Yeah, I have that book. That book was definitely a telltale. Definitely a telltale.
That was rough.
Yeah,
that was rough.
Absolutely.
So I think, that being said, it's going to be a really interesting series. It's going to be a really fun series. But I think by the end of Game 3, I feel like we're going to have a pretty good idea of whether it's over or this thing's going 7.
Right. I actually agree with that assessment too. By Game 3, we'll have an idea of where we're at in the series. Yeah. There'll be a little bit of fill-out process Game 1, and from there, and then we'll go from one. Yeah.
We're either going to be saying, well, Miami's really good, but they're not good enough this year, or, oh fuck, the Lakers could be in some trouble.
Last let you go. Doc Rivers fired. Was he fired, or like what was this like? He was fired, right?
Yeah, he was fired. That's what all the tweets I saw said, and I think they made a big mistake.
So
I think they made a big mistake.
Part of me,
I think they assembled the wrong team.
I actually tend to agree, only because who are you going to get?
I have a feeling I know.
Who you
they're
have
they're either going to do the progressive thing and respond to Stephen A's comments about Steve Nash getting the Brooklyn job and do something like promote Sam Cassell or Ty Lue. But I think they're going to do something even dumber and very much more Clipper, because as Carrie Champion loves to say, Clippers going to clip.
She's kind of right, though,
man.
D'Antoni. Who?
They're gonna hire like D'Antoni or some shit.
Oh my gosh!
And they're gonna look really they're gonna look really good for the regular season and just continue not to figure it out because they're the fucking Clippers and Clippers gonna clip.
But isn't D'Antoni locked in for Philadelphia though? He's almost locked in for Philadelphia.
No. Oh, maybe. Okay.
But it's not official
that was
yet,
the
though,
rumor I heard.
It's not official yet. It's not official yet. But over the weekend they were saying that D'Antoni and Philly were pretty close to possibly making this happen.
I think it would be a colossal mistake, and I'd like to believe that Steve Ballmer at least remembers how much LA dislikes Mike D'Antoni from his run with the Lakers. But it just feels like such a Clippery thing to do. It just feels so on brand for them.
I see what you're saying about Doc Rivers. That it was a wrong move, though. But like, dude, this guy has how many meltdowns in the playoffs now? Like, I wrote a blog about this 3 years ago. I'm calling overrated.
Well, I discount the ones. I do, as a pure coach, I don't necessarily discount him for the ones where he was being GM and coach,
right?
Because I think that was a doomed endeavor from the jump,
right?
So I give him a pass.
And I think you and I have spoken on it years ago too.
Just the last couple of years.
I think you and I also spoke on that years ago too. Saying that wasn't probably not best for him to do both.
That was not a recipe for
hats.
Yeah, we said that then. It was just not It's not that like Doc's an idiot or he's the wrong guy for it. It's not a recipe for success. Very few people are going to succeed in that position because the two jobs are just too big.
Right, I agree.
And too different.
But I remember writing a piece on my website about Doc Rivers being overrated back in 2017. And the guy living off of the Boston thing, and it's just funny because like. For many years, I praised this guy as being, one of the top coaches in the league, and he's certainly one of the best coaches in the league. That's not kid ourselves here, though. But as time went on, you had the meltdown in 15 against Houston, and everything's happened on that team, and having top talent on that roster. And yeah, I know Golden State's in that same conference, and they were doing what they were doing and all that. San Antonio was still good at the time too, but this guy has had some top tier talent, in the league. And
the vibe. The thing that I see with Doc is that just the marriage with the Clippers in and of itself was fundamentally flawed, in the sense that like he's a dog who needs to work and coach for a dog organization, Boston, Miami, franchises like that, and nothing about the Clippers organization is really suited to Doc's strengths or style. And very few of the rosters that they've put forth can really be expected to yield the kind of results that he's capable of producing.
Right.
Like, I think, for example, if you could combine Pat Beverly's mouth and energy with Paul George's talent, you'd have a player that could complement Kawhi and be the heart and soul of the team. And I think you and I said this before, but I'm going to revisit it anyway. Kawhi can be the best player on a championship team, but he can't be the number one leader on a championship team. San Antonio, that was still Tim Duncan and Manu and Tony Parker who were leading that squad. Kawhi just happened to be the best player at the time. Same thing in Toronto. That was Kyle Lowry's team, and in some ways even Fred VanVleet's team and stuff like that, guys who had been there for a while. But Kawhi was just the best player who helped them put it all together. Kawhi was the best player on the Clippers, but no one player is capable of being the Duncan or the Lowry or the whatever that Kawhi needs in order to thrive and get a team to the mountaintop. And I think in a lot of ways that's the same thing that's dooming Doc. Like, he needs, like, Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce were savages, absolute fucking savages. And turned out Rajon was too. They just didn't know it yet because he was young.
Yeah.
And then Ray could hit down anything from the corner, so it was done.
I just think he lived
He's not had that. Like, he would thrive in Miami. I would never want to see something bad happen to Eric Spoelstra. I'm just saying. Like, I feel like Doc would do very well in Miami.
But I think that's because of the fact of the power structure involved too will insulate him in a way.
Well, yeah, because he's empowered to just coach the team, and he and Pat Riley are, very much cut from the same cloth in terms of philosophy and style and everything. So Pat does Pat, and I do me, and we run the team. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm X's and O's, and he deals with the agents and the sponsors. And I think an environment like that is probably much more conducive to success for him. But I don't know where his next stop's going to be, because I don't see another franchise apart from Boston or Miami that's overly, well geared for what he does and what he offers.
If I'm Doc, that's going to take the year off. Okay, maybe go to Houston. I don't know.
Go back to broadcasting. Broadcasting is easy, and it's
he was good on the mic, though. I liked him on the mic.
ESPN or TNT would take him in a second.
Mm-hmm. Take a year off.
Why not, right?
Take a year off, navigate the field next year, and then see what happens.
Well, and there's so much coach recycling that goes on in the NBA too, and it's unfortunate that we're talking about potentially one of the few black coaches stepping away.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so many dudes that continue to get jobs in the NBA that you're just like, why? Mike D'Antoni being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Well, I mean, Mike D'Antoni's. Look, I know. Obviously, that
he can win you 50. He can win you 50 regular season games and get you to the second round of the playoffs, and he's never going to take you any further than that because his system doesn't work. It doesn't translate to postseason basketball. Period.
I've been hard on D'Antoni for years. Calling him Pringles and all that. But I thought I was a little rough on him. He's a good coach. He's a good coach.
It's serviceable, but so I guess maybe I am snotty. As a Laker fan, I expect to win championships, and Mike D'Antoni ain't that dude.
Well,
he'll win you a lot of games. He'll sell a lot of season tickets. He'll get you talked about all season long on ESPN, and you might have an MVP, but you're not going to get any O'Brien trophies.
I think you and I are on the same boat now with Miami being a perennial finals team in the last 15 years. Yeah, there's a certain bar now that we expect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you get 3 or 4, and that shit is addictive, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I've been to 6 finals now in the last 15 years.
I will say, there is as interested as I am in this Miami team, and as much as I root for their success because I love you, when it doesn't conflict with Lakers' success. There was a part of me that really wanted the Mamba Memorial Trophy and our 17th to come at the expense of Boston.
That would make sense. There's a part of me too.
That would have just been so juicy.
And another narrative to the series too. I'm surprised you haven't even spoken about it yet. Is the whole LeBron Miami connection, and that whole thing. Both parties, Pat Riley and Spoelstra want and LeBron want to.
Oh no, it's super acrimonious. There's no love lost between those three.
Right. Pat Riley's still pissed off with how that whole thing was handled. When he left at the Cleveland, LeBron was disrespectful supposedly and disinterested in the meeting, and then texted Pat while he was on the plane that he was out and shit, and then LeBron kind of jabbed back when he won the championship, saying that leaving Miami was the biggest thing. So no, you got some fun little storylines. There's no ESPN is going to have no shortage of quotes and footage for their fluff pieces. and I feel bad. But the thing is, I feel bad because if Miami was not in the situation, I root for the Lakers because I want LeBron to get his 4th ring. But I tell anybody else, I don't want to expensive my fucking team. Sorry.
Yeah,
he comes
Although,
first.
As I did say, and I can probably get you to acknowledge on air, of all the teams in all the years to lose to, if the Lakers come away with this thing, I feel pretty confident in saying you won't be nearly as upset as you would have been if it were, the Clippers or the Warriors.
No, and honestly, because honestly, it's house money at this point for us. We've been house money since Milwaukee. We're not supposed to be here. We're not supposed to be here. We're the 5 seed, dude. We're the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. So we were good, but
Giannis really went down a peg for me when he made his comments about how he didn't want to, or it's not that he didn't want to guard Jimmy, but he would never think to contradict whatever the coach's plan was, that he didn't want to just like take over a game and say, you know what, I'm cutting this guy out of the game. That's something that finals MVPs have done perennially throughout the NBA.
I don't want to knock Giannis. He might hear this podcast because I want him Miami.
That's true. That's true.
I don't want to. I'm gonna say that fucking podcast or Heat fan. I'm gonna come Miami.
Coming to LA or so, like, see, I've got him going to Golden State or Miami.
Yeah, I think Golden State, Miami are the two other teams other than Milwaukee, of course.
I think you can never, because we're arrogant and because we do have that ability, you can never take the Lakers really out of the conversation, and they'll probably be in there if the thing gets handicapped as a prop bet in Vegas. But really, it's
of course it would. Yeah, yeah. That's a little value bet, if you will.
And I think if Giannis goes to the Heat immediately become the second best team in the NBA and unquestionably the best in the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see what happens. You guys a year to go with that one. But anyway, good luck.
Tomorrow night, man.
Yeah, good luck with your series.
9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, something like that.
It's not 9 p.m. Eastern, so that's 6 for you guys.
All right.
You know. Mark, it was fun.
Well, put the kids to bed. Put your Ronnie Cycli jersey on.
Hell yeah, baby! I got Glenn Rice jersey here.
You could triple layer with Cycli, Hardaway, and Dwayne Wade.
And Dwayne Wade, yeah. What a time to be alive right now, huh? It's great. Heat Lakers, can't wait.
Oh my goodness! No, but you know what? I'm ending the podcast with this many smiles after that dumpster fire was much needed. So
oh my God, yeah.
That was a good juxtaposition show.
And you know, tomorrow all cable news is gonna be fucking. It's gonna be nuts tomorrow.
There's more than a few of my regular podcasts come out on Wednesdays, so I'm really curious to see if they waited and did a late recording.
I'm sure the Pop Save guys did an emergency podcast tonight. I'm sure they did an emergency podcast tonight. They had to.
Oh yeah.
You know, some of those.
I'd be shocked if they didn't. They did one for the convention, so why wouldn't they do one?
Exactly. Mark, we'll talk soon. Next debate.
Yes, we will. I'm sure we'll be texting all kinds of shit back and forth to each other tomorrow night.
Yeah,
so.
Tomorrow night. We'll start tomorrow night, buddy. Be good, brother.
Let's get it. You too, man.
That's it. You got it.